Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be another pick-a-pile reading for today. This one is going to be a general, like, I need advice, am I on the right path kind of short reading. As always, you should pick whichever pile you feel drawn to the most, and then skip ahead to the timestamp in the description to view your reading. If you feel like you're drawn pretty evenly to like two piles, then you can watch both of them and then just pick whichever one feels more applicable to you. It could be that they both apply here in some form, or they could be two different situations you're having. You're also free to just watch all of them and then pick whichever one you feel applies most. It doesn't really matter. With that out of the way, let's start the readings. Alright, pile number 1. If you picked this Hagstone, along with this Deoxys card, this is going to be your reading for today. So the first card is You As You Are. So this seems to be kind of a go-getter card, but you're still stuck in this like middle transition here. This is a very active card. It could be that... Now, you might be saying, well, I'm not doing enough for my situation right now. But the lightning energy is kind of more how like you feel right now. So it could be that you just really want to get into a more active position, or you feel like that is the best thing that you should be doing right now. But yeah, this is a very like I'm on a mission kind of card. But let's see if you're on the right mission. So the second card is Am I on the correct path? And this feels like a mixed bag kind of result. It's not necessarily that you're on the wrong path, but there could be other paths that are better for you. This kind of like this Larvesta sitting in the chimney. And it's like this is a very comfortable position. But you have to think about what he really gains from being in there. Like I said, it's comfortable, but he's not gonna evolve like that. And this is not necessarily a bad thing if you genuinely are completely comfortable with your situation and you don't really care about like getting ahead. Like, you know, some people like their jobs. As an example, they like their job and they think it pays, like, it might not pay the most luxurious, but it pays enough to pay the bills and they can still get a treat every once in a while. So they don't really care about moving higher up because they think it's, like, way more effort than it might be worth right now. So if you're someone who does not have super high ambitions and you are just fine with that, that could be, like, okay. But if you're someone who wants something a bit more, then this is an indication that this might not be the path for you. So for our main obstacle, we have Zarud. This feels very much like you are being challenged by other people. Okay, Zarud is a grass type, but it's also a dark type. And that can be a very adversarial card. When it's not referring to getting lost in your own head. This feels like an external force, like a person or people, a group of people who might be pushing you along. And this could be that part of the reason why you're in this situation is because you're pushing yourself to their vision and not really to your vision. Let's go to the next card, which is going to be Help. Yeah, Delphox. Now, Delphox is a fire type, but it's also a psychic type. And, you know, it's literally a witch fox. You know, foxes are always associated with, like, cunning and trickery, while it's literally a witch. So, you need some... This feels like if you want outside help from a person, this could be like you need someone with some out-of-the-box kind of thinking, right? Someone who is, like, kind of a weirdo, not afraid to beat... Or, not afraid... Someone who is kind of a weirdo and not afraid to follow the beat of their own drum. But... If it's just referring to yourself, this would be... You are supposed to be the one thinking outside of the box and leaning into more stranger things. If you're a spiritual person, this could be calling upon either you yourself calling upon spirit guides, or you having someone that you trust help you with that kind of thing. But even from a mental standpoint, this does point towards outside forces being something that would help you here. So, how to progress? We have this Tauros here who is just charging in at the viewer. Now, considering our first card was this Luxio, who is also on a mission, this does indicate that you're thinking about it the right way, in the sense of, yeah, you do need to be more active about the situation. Perhaps even a little bit aggressive towards people who are putting you down, and making a stand and letting it be known that you're not going to put up with that kind of thing. But in terms of, like, active go-getter energies towards what you want, then yes, that is the correct option. The question is just what you're happy with, and if you want to stay or if you want to go. But no matter what you do, it's still good to be proactive in your situation. It's just about, like, directing your energy. But this does imply that no matter what you do, stay or go, there will be challenges. They just might be different kinds of challenges. And there might be less challenges with the wanting to stay in your little cozy home. It could also be that it might seem like there's more challenges if you decide to leave and pursue something better, but then it gets better over time. Because, like, this is such a raging, like, bull, but he does do a ton of damage, right? So, yeah, pile number 1. Like I said, if you're completely fine with your situation, then you should stay and just work on it. But if you feel like you are meant for greener pastures, then these cards are indicating that you do need to change something and tap into that other wisdom. Alright, so pile number 1, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Hello, pile number 2. If you picked this piece of amber, along with this Iron Valiant, this is going to be your reading for today. So the first card is where you are right now. you are at a pretty advantageous position. It might not feel like this because there's still, like, effort involved, but whether you realize it or not, for your situation, you are in a very good position, even if it does involve a little bit of fighting. So let's continue. So, are you on the correct path? Wow. If you just if you just got into like something that you feel really drawn to, like you feel really motivated to do and stuff, and you are working for it, you're not entirely sure if you're making headway or not, this is a sign that you are on the right path. Like, Cobalion is the leader of the three the Musketeer Pokemon. And especially with this Lopunny card, like I said, you're in a very advantageous position. Like, this Lopunny card is literally kicking down whatever its opponent is. But look at how it's interesting too. These are both kind of from like looking up at the Pokemon, kind of. Showing that they have such an advantageous position. So yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. Let's go on to card number 3. So card number 3, if you are having any doubts about your position, it feels like it's because you need to let some things go. You need to cut things out of your life. This Scyther card, he's cutting down all these bamboo stalks, and you might find it's like some kind of sunk cost fallacy kind of thing. This is a sign to cut things out. And you might feel like bad about it because you're like, oh, I already invested this time and energy into, doing this, but is it worth keeping it up? Like, is it actually, you need to reevaluate things in your life and if they're actually still serving you or if they're just in the way. You might have some old habits that may have, like, been good for you in the past, like survival mechanisms, especially survival mechanisms that may have been good for you in the past, but now that you're in such an advantageous position, you don't need them anymore, and they're just holding you back. A good example of this is, like, a trauma response. If you have, like, a bad reaction to something, and then you start avoiding it, but now if you want to get ahead, you can't avoid that thing anymore. That's an example of what I mean by that. But the card number 4 is like help, where you're going to be getting help or something like that. And we have this Simisear V-Star. See, it's not just that it's Simisear V, it's Simisear V-Star. And he's like got this kind of like, he has mastery of his fire powers, and he's using it, right? It's almost kind of like a stopping motion towards the enemy. A little. And I'm not sure if you have any, like, fiery friends who might help keep you out of trouble sometimes, or help bail you out of trouble. But this would be a sign to either take their help or take their advice or something along those lines. And the reason for this is because it will help you, like, activate that kind of, like, inner flame so that you can trailblaze even more than you already are. But this is a pretty victorious card. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't need any help at all. But how to progress. So, how to progress. This is a quad stone, and what a quad stone does is if you only have the one of them, you only heal 10 HP. But if you have all 4 of them, and you use all 4 of them at once, then you heal all your HP from a Pokemon. And this feels like if you want to progress and get ahead, you might be looking at a bunch of pieces individually. And those pieces individually will help to some extent. But you have to, like, combine talents or combine resources into one thing if you really want to get ahead. This could be not just, like, literal resources. It could be, yes, you take that friend's help when they offer a ride. Yes, you sell some old things for some money to spend on your next business endeavor. I don't know. That kind of thing. It's just like in a combination, all of those things. It's not just going to be one thing. Like, yeah, the one thing is going to help. But it's the combination of all of these things and making a good plan that involves all of these things is going to be the best way to proceed, because you clearly have, like, the willpower, and you clearly already are in an advantageous position, so it's just using all of the tools that you have available to you to get a good combo going, is what this is telling me. Yeah, especially with this, it could be that you, like, were not necessarily wanting outside help because you wanted to do everything on your own. But, like I said, he might be the leader, but he's still part of the group of the 3 Pokemon and their, like, 1 protege that I always forget Keldeo exists. But, yeah. Especially if you're afraid to cut out a lot of old things, it might be... If you're afraid to ask for help, it's time to cut that fear out of your life and just suck it up. But, yeah, pile number 2, things are looking pretty good. So, I hope that reading was useful for you. Alright, pile number 3, if you picked this Jade Donut along with Reuniclus, this is your reading. Our first card here is You As You Are. We have the Young Goose. And this is very early stages. This is like you are expecting something to happen. And like not just the fact that he's early stages, but like I said, this guy, like, waits for his prey and then, like, ambushes them, right? So you're waiting for something to happen. But let's see if waiting is the correct position here. Number 2, are you on the correct path? We have this Bronzor. And he's, like, sitting in the ruins while everyone else is kind of off in the background. Looks like it's a bunch of kids playing. But this Bronzor is kind of, like, sitting here contemplating or sleeping or something. This kind of ties back to the waiting card. But as for whether or not you are on the correct path, this feels kind of neutral. It almost feels like in your situation, there is no correct path. And I don't necessarily mean that things are always going to be bad or things are always going to be good. It's just sometimes things are just things. The situation you're in could be also more mundane than you're making it out to be. If you've been super anxious about a specific situation, it could just be that it needs to take more time to, like, sit. And part of the reason why you can't really advise on whether or not you're on the correct path right now is because it could be the correct path, but it's not really, it hasn't been sitting for long enough that you really know if your decisions were the right ones because nothing has happened yet. So let's continue and see what the other cards have in store for us. Main obstacle. Okay, number 3 is still waiting. So this is such this really does just need time to pass. It could be that, like, this path that you think you're on is just not even a path at all. It's just, like, a temporary thing that's just gonna happen. And you might think it's going to be, like, some kind of long-lived thing, but, like, you know, all things pass. It could just be that, like... Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like there's this path, or it's like a false path, right? It's not going to lead to anything, but at the same time, right now, you can't really pick anything else, so there's not really any use in worrying about it. Right? Like, it's just something that needs to pass. As for help, we have Ariados. On a web spinning on a web that's like covered in dewdrops. So for your help, all of these cards are about waiting. This is like waiting for something to fall into your trap. This is... There isn't help here because you've already set up whatever it is that needs to be set up, and it's literally just waiting for it to happen. That's so strange. I mean, like for an advice poll, I wonder if it's... You know, this card kind of recontextualizes this one. Like, you know, earlier I said that it might be that you don't even really have a path at all, you're just kind of like chilling. This does have a bit of like a positive connotation, like that you will get the prize. Though, considering the prize is like relatively mundane, you know, everyday's life, usually getting a next meal, it could still be that this is not a particularly ambitious project. But here. How to progress. Berserker. This is an evolved Pokemon. It's also Steel type. And this card's also a Steel type too, and these two are grass. So, colorless just being like neutral here, but I see. Okay, so like... This is an evolution Pokemon. It's also Steel type. Steel type's usually more defensive than offensive, but Berserker has, like, this ability, Steely Spirit, that increases the power of its Steel moves, and, like, the Steel moves on everyone on your team. So... Oh, right, it increases the Steel type attack on all of your teammates. So this would imply that you're supposed to be, like, chilling with friends right now. Or maybe not chilling, but... See, I think this implies that you're supposed to be helping friends right now, which will indirectly make you progress. I guess that's why you can't do anything right now for your own situation, is because all the stuff that you can do and that you can have control over is already done. And now it's just involving other people, possibly. Or helping other people to bide your time. Until the thing. Because, you know, if you do help other people, then all that good stuff can swing right around back to you. So, yeah, especially, obviously, like, their teammates, their friends, right? So, Yeah, spend time with your friends. Or family. Help a brother out. That kind of thing. So, yeah, pile number 3. I hope that helped. See you next time.